Hello again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel. I'm your host, Prince Magnum, and welcome to Sober Talk. We're going to start breaking down the steps, and we're going to talk briefly about step one and kind of how that, I'm going to give you some inside info. But before we get underway, read that disclaimer. Get a sponsor. Use that sponsor. Don't use my channel as your for your sponsor. Don't do it. Step one. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives are unmanageable. Let's talk about that. The first thing I'm going to tell you is, number one, the last person to know they have a problem is the alcoholic themselves. Okay? This is the step where you get honest with yourself. Some people like calling it hitting your bottom. I don't like that. And the reason why I don't like that term, hitting your bottom, there's always lower bottoms. And the lowest bottom you can get is 6 feet under. So if you want to see if you've got a lower bottom than where you're at right now, go right back out there and drink. I promise you will find it. Okay? In the big book, it talks about how we have but two choices. One, going on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation. Or two, seek spiritual help. Okay? I like to break it down a little bit better. We have but two choices. We can either get busy living or we can get busy dying. Okay? I got that from Shawshank Redemption. I use it in my sobriety. It helps me. Maybe it'll help you. So the first thing you need to know is with this revelation that you cannot go on, that spiritual moment, that spiritual experience, if you will. You go and you get the help, and the first thing that you're going to note is that you have a very obsessive mind. Even in meetings, you'll be sitting there thinking about your next drink. It's just the way it is, the obsessive mind. That's where the disease is. That proves if you can't stop, if you're in the middle of how people are talking about how wonderful sobriety is, and you can't stop thinking about your next drink, I'd say that's a pretty good chance you have alcoholism. Okay? And where the two connect, the unmanageability part, if you, every time you drink, something bad has to happen, or you drink and, if you do something and then you have to get drunk to forget, if your problems are connected to your alcoholic drinking, there's the unmanageability. Let me explain. When I went into Alcoholics Anonymous, I still had the really cool car sitting in my driveway. I had a nice apartment. I had a very nice job working as a CNA CMT with insulin certification, passing medication in a nursing home. Had been there for many years by this time. I had a couple of fat bank accounts. At one point, I could easily say that that I was quite possibly one of the wealthiest CNA CMTs in the St. Francis County area. That being said, my family couldn't stand me. My two daughters were scared of me, and their mother hated me. So, there was the unmanageability. Now, does it have to be that way? Well, not really. I actually had heard a story where a gentleman had actually been on a bender for a couple of days and realized, when he came out of his blackout, he realized he'd been wearing the same shirt for the last few days and realized he had a problem. Everybody's story is a little bit different. They like to call that the high bottom drunk. I don't like that. Like I said, it's the moment of truth when you stop lying to yourself. So there's where you begin. Now, when you talk to your sponsor, you guys will start talking about that. And if you are truthful to yourself at this point, I promise you, you're well on your way. Now, this is going to be one of those moments that any member of AA will kind of get upset when I say this. Some people will like to say that the third step is the action step. Some people like to say that even in the books it says that the fourth step is the action step. I don't like that. If you take step one with a sponsor, you go into a meeting, find a sponsor, you guys sit down, you go over step one. At that moment, in my opinion, you are taking action. So step one is an action step. You are taking action to deal with your problems with alcohol. That being said, let me go ahead and throw this out there. I'm giving my experiences in Alcoholics Anonymous. If you are a member of NA and you felt like you were left out, everything I said can apply to all of you, my brethren, in Narcotics Anonymous, or even in what's now becoming more commonplace, celebrated recovery. Okay? So if this helps you out a great deal, take it, run with it, and use it in your sober life every chance you get. If it doesn't, just tuck it away. It might help you down the road. That brings us to the end of this first installment of talking about the steps here on Sober Talk. I hope you all enjoyed it. It gives me great pleasure and enjoyment to talk about sobriety with all of you. If this helps anyone out, please leave a comment. If you have some wonderful stories about your experiences with the first step, whether it was in your own recovery or in someone else's recovery, someone you sponsored, please leave the comments below, or I'll try to leave my email at the end of this and tell me all about it. I'd love to hear from you. With all of that being said, I hope all of you find the peace and comfort that I have in sobriety. And above all, if nobody has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.